Welcome back to the One's Ready podcast. We've got TSgt Elizondo. What is actually your first name?
Valerie.
Valerie Elizondo. So you have a distinction that nobody else here has, and we immediately keyed in on it because we are an all-enlisted career field.
Okay.
And all-enlisted, well, not career field, but all-enlisted podcast.
Yeah.
Pararescue was an all-enlisted career field from 1966 all the way up till 2001. You were the only enlisted member on a 4-stars Commander's Action Group. How does that feel?
So initially it was a little intimidating, but so I'm not one to shy away from ranks. Like ranks don't really intimidate me.
You're in a safe space here.
Yeah.
Don't confuse your rank and my willingness to beat you to death in front of your friends. Right?
Especially being in the med group. And I think what helped too is I did some exec work a few years back, and that kind of, even before that, I was still not really uncomfortable by the idea, but yeah, I'm public health normally.
Okay, that's what your career field was, is public health?
Yes.
When did you get in the Air Force?
It's been a long time. So I've been in 17 years.
Get it? You're so close.
Oh yeah, I'm old school. I had like a setback 6 years ago, but I'm still here.
Okay.
Anyway, so I got to that point where I'm very comfortable in public health.
Sure.
So not a lot makes me, like, if I know my job, I've mastered my trade. So I'm confident, if that makes sense. And also with military stuff, I'm pretty confident with like standards and things like that. So I think that's why I've never shied away from the ranks.
So what led you to the exec life?
I had a good mentor who kind of pushed me to that. You know, again, I had a setback, so it was trying to rebuild.
Okay.
And he pushed me to that, and then I just ran with it. I did great at it, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. And then, so now I'm here in a 4-star CAG. So how I got here, so I'm stationed out at Scott, obviously, but my commander at the time, Lieutenant Colonel G and Chief Thomas, they pushed me. They were like, hey, because I felt guilty leaving, I'm not gonna lie.
Right, yeah.
I left the public health flight with no NCOs.
Oh, no.
So I have poured into people for quite a long time, and have a hard time thinking of myself through the whole thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they kind of got to that point where actually Chief Thomas actually put me in for 2 jobs without telling me. And he was like,
shout out Chief Thomas, what's up?
Exactly, yeah. Right. He's at Travis now, but after the fact is when he was like, hey, I put you in for these. So I interviewed for both, and it was IG, like NIG, and then at the CAG. Right. And that's how I ended up at the CAG. I interviewed, and I'm here.
Well, so it's such a hard thing to go from, and I'm going to use indoctrination in the best possible sense, right? Like you're indoctrinated to be a good NCO, to care for your troops. Yeah. But whether it's moving off the teams, whether it's moving to a higher position inside the squadron, whether it's looking for an additional duty, there is some of that shame and some of that trepidation. You're like, I'm leaving my people and I'm going on to do this. Like, how did you deal with that as you moved on?
Honestly, I still feel it now because when I go back to the public health flight, I feel like I abandoned my children.
Thank goodness. You went away for milk and you just never came back. You're just like, hey, I got to go over to the CAG. I'm just going to go pick up this milk real quick. I'll be right back, everybody.
That's exactly what it feels like. So that's kind of how I've handled it a little bit, by still keeping in touch with the airmen to make sure they know I'm still here for them. Sure. Like if they need leadership, if they need mentorship. So I think that's a big part that made me a little, even though, I have these I took out a few of them for lunch a couple weeks ago, and then they're telling me all these things, and I'm like, I want to go back. Like, I want to help you.
Well, and that's a tough thing too, is like if you've done your job as an NCO, then they're going to be able to address those challenges, and they're going to be able to succeed. Yes. But it's exactly like parenting. You still worry about them every single day. And it's
not even the public. I'm confident in them and that I've taught them well in public health to do the public health job. It's the other stuff, like I don't know, almost like sticking up for them, like when there's other people coming.
It's being that heat shield. It's doing what you're supposed to be as an NCO. When I made Master Sergeant, I had a good friend of mine pull me aside, be like, you know why you have those that little roof? Because that's how you shield everybody else that's supposed to be underneath you. And your sergeant literally means to serve. That is the etymology of the word sergeant. Being a servant leader is what you're supposed to do as an NCO. And it's tough when you see those people struggling with that.
Yeah. Especially because there's a lot of new ones too. Like there were a couple ones who'd only been in a year.
Sure.
So but we're coping well.
So how did you find a way to lead and to satisfy that need to serve in your new position on the CAG? Because you are the only enlisted member that's on the CAG. You're working for a 4-star. Yeah. How did you find a way to lead? And how long did it take you to find your footing inside of that new space?
Okay, so I've only been there 5 months. I got there in June.
5 months in CAG time is like...
Oh, yeah. It's
like in the movie Interstellar, where it's like 7 years on the ground and it's only, 40 years.
So I'll say probably the first month felt like I was learning a new language.
Sure.
Just because being in the med group bubble, the first few meetings that I went to, I was like, I have no idea what anybody's talking about.
What is A3? Who cares about what they say?
No,
right, exactly.
I'm serious.
Yeah, right.
So it was like, wow. But then I'm like, you know what? Nope, I'm going to learn it. I was inserting myself into as many meetings as possible.
Right.
So that I can get back to that confidence. Being confident in public health is one thing, but now being confident in the CAG, completely different thing. But it probably took a couple months for me to figure out, I kind of know what I'm doing. And if I don't know what I'm doing, I know who to ask. I know who to go to. Once I figured that out, like the resourcing part, that's when I was like, okay, I got this.
Right.
Let's do it.
And I'll tell you, it's funny talking to SimSAF Baptist this morning, and we talked earlier. We talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. Is that what stops a lot of people from going? Is being comfortable? Is being and not just comfortable. You're comfortable because you're competent, and then you have confidence inside of that thing. So the last thing that you want to do is go into somewhere where you have no idea what you're doing. Yeah. It's so funny because the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force sat right in the same seat earlier today. And she said the exact same thing. She's like, I just feel like I'm hitting my stride right now. Yeah. I just feel like I'm finally being confident right now. I know that you had to feel uncomfortable.
Oh, absolutely. Especially I had never worked outside a squadron. Sure. When I did an exec, it was at the squadron level. So it's like, okay, I went from working at a flight and a squadron to a MAGCOM.
Right.
So it was kind of like, whoa. It was scary initially. The first couple weeks before I was going over there, I was terrified. I was like, oh, I don't know. But my husband is like my hype man, right? So he's like, you're going to do awesome.
Shout out to AJ too, by the way. Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys are not the best defense in the National Football League. I'm going to put it right out there. We had this talk before. We figured out just beforehand. It turns out I've known AJ, and we've run in the same circles for years at this point. So shout out, go Browns. We're not going to let that take over. And also shout
out because tomorrow's our 9-year anniversary.
9-year anniversary.
Shout out to that.
Let's go. We're almost out
but
there.
I'm here.
But you're here. Well, hopefully AJ will be okay with it, and he'll find a way to
he better have good presents waiting for me. Is all.
Absolutely, yeah. Hey, get it out.
I'm just kidding.
Make sure.
But
sure.
I'm not kidding.
So, but also not kidding. Also totally serious. You had to have failed inside of this first 5 months. How did you deal with that first time that you were like, oh man, I don't know if I should be here. I don't know if I should be doing this. What were the things that you focused on to make sure that you kept on your path?
To be honest, I don't think I've had a moment where I'm like, oh, I screwed that up. Sure. I don't think I've had that.
You're just that good?
I'm not trying to say that, no.
Fantastic. But we're doing pretty good until now, right?
No, like I said, I think I've been pretty good at, for a long time, like I said, knowing the right people. Okay. So knowing like, okay, I'm not going to screw this up, so let me ask somebody who knows more than me so that I can get it right. And again, what helped with that is networking, reaching out to the right people, and being humble. Like, hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you walk me through how to do this? Because I don't know what this means, or I don't know how to do this. So just help me out, and then I'll get it the next time. So I think that's what's helped me. I'm okay with saying I don't know what I'm doing. So show me how to do it so that I can know next time.
Do you think that's something you learned being inside the med group? Because that's a very medical thing, right? Like the best students that you have is I don't know what acronym you just used. Can you please explain that to me?
I think so. And even though, honestly, public health is not the most medical.
Sure.
We're not clinical. But in a way, yes, I think that probably helped. Is that not normal for you guys to be kind of I don't know what I'm doing?
Hi, I'm a PJ. I've been perfect since the second that I was born. Yes, so exactly. I wouldn't even know what you're talking.
I came out sprinting from the womb.
I couldn't believe
I skipped the whole crawl phase.
I actually gave the doctor some pointers on the way that he delivered me. It was this whole thing, and he was embarrassed, and then everybody clapped, and it was the first time.
I can totally see it, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So I've never made a mistake, especially not on a podcast. ever, ever, ever.
Yeah.
I think it's really important for people to hear too that you have focused your entire career on just being the best in where you are and taking those opportunities as they come up. A lot of people get way too hyper-focused on, especially in our world where you have these people that are trying to do this impossible thing and they see a huge attrition rate and they see the movies and they see the citations and stuff.
Yeah.
Really what we try to tell people all the time is just be the best airman where you can be. Be the best at what you're doing right now and be open to a new opportunity that presents itself.
Yeah, I definitely, and I think that also has a lot to do with my upbringing. I'm first generation American, so I think just from a Mexican family and just my parents were probably the hardest working people I know. So I think just having that, like, work hard, be good at whatever it is that you do. I think, yes, you're right. That has helped. Because no matter what it is I'm doing, like, I don't want to suck. I don't want to. I don't want to be like that. Oh, I don't want to go to that person.
Could never be me, but sucks to suck.
Yes,
I don't know what to do. Right.
So yes, I think that has helped a lot. Like I want to be good at whatever it is I'm doing. If I'm picking up these plates after people, like, I want to be the best plate picker-upper you've ever seen.
If there's work to be done, we just go find work.
Exactly.
That's how you excel at any given task.
Yep. That's exactly
Being a mill-to-mill spouse, there's challenges that go along with that as well. How have you found that you and your mill spouse husband have found a way to communicate, share duties, and make your family life work?
Okay, so I've kind of followed him along for the last 10 years. We left Nellis so he can be an MTI. And then we left Lackland because he was a mandatory mover after that. We went to Keesler. And then we ended up...
Good. Vegas to San Antonio to Keesler. So it was just a trajectory straight up the good bases to go spots.
Yeah. And then we left Keesler because he... I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with CCAT, Critical Care Air Transport. So that's what he got hired on to do, a position for CCAT. So it's been a lot of following him along. Especially, he's Master Sergeant, so he outranks me, and then his career field is much smaller.
Sure.
So we can only go to certain jobs or certain bases.
So because he's a Master Sergeant, he gets to decide what goes on at the house,
yeah,
too,
but
I'm
no,
sure, right?
Absolutely not.
Are you sure?
No.
But he outranks you.
I'm the commander in the house.
I'm the H86.
Yes.
That's what I am.
I don't know if you guys heard the introduction to Miss Ashley, but I am the 5-star in the house. So.
Fantastic. So good.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I think it's been, I don't know if it just has to do with my personality, but I'm really much like, all right, you got to deploy. Okay, we got it. We got the kids. Like I got it.
There's always that give and take, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a period of time where you're going to follow him around and you're not going to love the assignments that he gets. And then you're probably going to get some assignments or some jobs that he doesn't like and things are just going to have to happen.
Yeah.
And then really, as soon as 20 year hits and you guys are all out, you're the commander for the rest of the life.
You're right.
Then ballroom dancing lessons, going to every single kids sporting event or talent show or all that other stuff. What was the most effective way that you have found to communicate with your spouse when you guys seem to be missing each other at every turn?
Honestly, we've been fortunate to we haven't had many where it's like, we're completely disconnected because of the job. Like even through his deployments, like I think because I'm so like focused on work myself too, or like school and the kids and things like that, that I don't know if I've ever had a moment where it's just like, I don't know what's going on, like with being disconnected in a way, you know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't know.
I'm telling you. It sucks to win all the time, but we know.
It does. We're so good, though.
I know, it does. You can't help it. Could never be me. What would happen with these bad things could never be me. Well, your boss is coming in here right now, so apparently we got to get going because I got to let you, if he's coming here to sit down, which I know for a fact that you got work that you got to go do.
Oh, probably. My work is to eat dinner.
Thanks so much for coming on. We appreciate your time. Thanks everybody out there. Outstanding. Good work.